Does your Deebot do this too? How you doing, Duff here? What you see on the table is my Deebot 937 vacuum. It started exhibiting the behavior that you saw at the start of this video, where it just goes in circles when it starts to run. This is really the first significant problem I've had with the robot. Basically what's going on is one of these wheels is seized. See, this one turns. This one is locked in place. It does not turn at all. When I did my research on this, that there's other people on the internet that have been lucky that they were able to fix this problem because they just found something like wedged in the wheel, like a tissue napkin or whatever was wedged in there. But in my situation, I cannot find anything that is stuck in there. I think the motor is just seized up for some reason. So I actually contacted their support, Deebot support, asked for some guidance, and after giving me generic troubleshooting, they basically said, a problem like this you can't fix yourself. You can send it to, can't remember the name of the company. It might be iFixit, or I'm not quite sure. Basically said, too bad, so sad. Either you can pay someone to fix it, or we can give you a 10% discount code on another one. So I said, thanks, but no thanks. Well, I do have a discount code if this is not successful. But I am going to try to fix this myself. I do have a long history of working on these robots, back to the original Roombas. At one point I had like 7 or 8 Roombas in the house, both working and for parts. I ripped a ton of those original Roombas apart. I've also worked on my Neato vacuums as well, several times. So I'm going to be trying to follow a guide here and take it apart and see if I can replace this motor. Now the other thing is, when I was trying to find a replacement motor, the closest I could find, this is a Deebot 937. This is a dual function vacuum and mopping unit. On eBay, the only thing that I could find was a motor for a 930 Deebot. Now I'm hoping it's the same thing. It looked similar, but I'm hoping that there's not some sort of subtle difference that will make this not work in this robot. So we will find out together. All right, so first of all, I took the brushes out, and we need to remove the battery. 2 screws here. I'm going to try to do my best to keep my work area somewhat organized. 2 screws. Try to keep the screws with the parts. I've never actually even seen the battery in this thing. It's kind of a tight fit though. Let's just shake out. There we go. All right. Slide your battery pack out. Yeah, that's much smaller than batteries that I'm used to in the older robots. Like with the Roombas, the batteries used to be, yo big. Much smaller now. I'm worried because the guide that I'm looking at is for a 930. And the battery is totally different. So let's hope that that does not derail everything for me. All right, so next we're going to take off the front bumper, and that should just be these screws along the front. There's a total of 8 little screws. Once you get them off, your bumper cover will be removed. Okay, so at this point the bumper is supposed to just lift off. Oh wow, it does. Okay. Bumper off. All right, again, we have a deviation here. The guide I'm talking about talks about physically removing the whole bumper assembly with a 937. That does not look like that's the way it works. So we're going to just skip ahead, and we're going to try to remove the bottom case. And the bunch of recessed screws is always fun. You need to make sure that you have a proper fitting Phillips head screwdriver so you don't strip these in the process. All right, I got those by the wheels. It's supposed to be a total of 6 screws. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And if you have a magnetized screwdriver, it's a good thing. Okay, try your best to not lose these. They appear to be the same length, which is good. Okay, I had 3 drop out, but there's a total of 4. Is it that one? There it is. All right, you're supposed to slide a jimmy in. A jimmy. I'm going to see if I can do the same thing with just a little flat edge screwdriver, maybe. All right, so on this model, it seems like instead of the top comes off, the bottom stays on. All right, so there should be some cables here that have to be carefully disconnected. Yeah, they're right here at the front. This is you want to be careful. These are small connectors. You don't want to just grab by the wires and yank. Okay, so it's just 2 wires. So this whole thing should lift off. And it does. All right. All right, so now I can see the motor assembly, so that's nice. And here is my locked one. So the question is how do I, whoops. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of a reconnaissance here and see if I can figure out how to release this. And this is the right motor assembly, which actually has an R on it. Okay, here's my replacement. It's looking pretty darn similar, so that's a good thing at least, right? Yeah, see, this guide I have is, I'm just going to have to wing it, I think. All right, so we're going to take the spring off. And let's see, I see 3 screws holding this on. Well, 3 that I see. Because it looks like there's, let's see, 1, 2, wow. It doesn't look like there's a whole bunch of wires that are holding this on. 1, 2, where was that 3rd one? Oh, there it is. I really prefer to have a full guide to work off of. This is, in my past experience, this is the kind of situation that doesn't often wind up well when you're just kind of winging it. All right, it looks like there's actually 4 screws that hold the motor in, the wheel motor assembly. And I think to get to the 4th one, I'm going to have to move this system board out of the way, which is annoying. I don't think it's a great design. I'm just going to pull what I have to from the wires. I'd rather not disconnect everything, even though the instructions that I see recommend that you pull everything. I really don't want to do that. Yeah, see, the other problem is this bumper assembly is different, and I'm wondering if that is covering my last, is that it? All I need to do is get access to that last screw location. So looking at my replacement motor, I see 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spots where screws could go. Oh man. Okay, so it becomes clear that this bumper has to be able to be moved. So I looked around here. There's two small black screws. If you move the system board out of the way, you can see them. There was one here and one here. Now I at least have some movement here that I might be able to get to the screws. Yeah, I can see one of them right now. Okay, 4. All right, here's number 5. All right. So if you were following the book, you would have all of these connectors off, and you would have the system board totally removed. And I'm not following that book. All right, here we go. Motor assembly. All right, so I just need to basically follow these wires. There's a little connection on the side. There is a connector here. This is a drop sensor, I guess, and I have no idea what this is. That looks like a speaker, right? A speaker attached to the motor. So yeah, even with this motor out, it is locked. I'm curious, I might take this cover off and just see like if the gears are wrecked in there or something. I don't know. But the good news is my replacement motor does look the same. This is definitely how it looks. So, all right, so let's put this speaker back in here. Probably should have paid a little bit more attention to how it was routed. The wires were routed. I really didn't pay that much attention. This drop sensor, or whatever the sensor is, that was just, I'm just trying to figure out how that goes in there. All right, I'll be back. Okay, I got that sensor seated in there. It looks like it's, is this the brushed? I think it's probably the dustbin. It's the dustbin sensor. All right, so let's, I got that back, I got that back. Okay, this has to connect, this side connection goes in here. These connectors are keyed, so they only will go one way. All right, let's lay this down here. This wire connector goes back in there. This should be keyed, right? It can only go one way, right? Yeah. All right, so I need to keep all this stuff loose so I can get the motor, the wheel motor back in place, and then we'll worry about getting everything else back in. All right, I have those 5 motors back in. I have all the connectors plugged in, but now I need to get this bumper how it's supposed to be. And the question is how to do that without breaking anything. All right, let me figure that out. I'll be back. All right, I got the halves back together. I had to make sure that these little optical sensor ports went back in. Okay, so now I need to put these black screws in first. And you need to either have the system board out or loose like I have it here, so you can actually get access to where these screws go. 2 of them, 1, 2. The other one is over here. There's also a bunch of little silver ones that were in the bottom here that I took out, thinking that I might need them out, but I don't think you do, so I'm going to put those back in. Little tiny silver screws, being very careful not to lose any. All right, so let's, I'm gonna keep going here, but I think I'd like to test it before I put it much further together, right? So let me get the basics buttoned up here. All right, have all those screws back in. Now I need to get the system board. There are like little offsets here that you push it onto to make sure that it's seated correctly, and then simply put the four screws back in. Hope this works, guys. There is no guarantee. All right, system board's in. Let's see, what else do we need to verify it works? I'm just kind of taking these wires and just pushing them out of the way. On the other side, that has most of the wires routed through there, so that kind of looks all right there. At this point, let's see. Maybe put the top cover back on. Yeah, I think so. Right? Yeah, let's do that. Because it will not run without the top cover on. Again, these are very dainty connectors, be gentle. Okay, I'm just finishing up reassembling it. I just basically reversed everything that I did when I took it apart. And I wanted to show you, this is the original wheel that was in there. I took the cover off here, and because it was still locked, let's see, there we go. Take that off, take that off, okay. And you'll see inside here, this is the assembly, and it was still locked. I could not turn it. But I did notice I took the belt off, and as you can see now I can turn it. There was hair wrapped around the shaft of the motor. That is what was binding it up. There was enough hair stuck in there that it actually bound the motor up, and now it's fine, and I have a feeling if I put this back in, it would probably work just fine. So I'm going to keep this for a rainy day. Because, I mean, you have to still take it all the way apart to do this, so it's, you know, it's a small victory at best, but yeah, hair in there, and it's crazy because, I mean, it's behind a cover. You know, that there's a cover over that, and still hair got in there to bind that motor up. So the 937 should be functional now. Let's put it down on the floor. Let's see if it does anything besides go in circles. Come on, baby. There you go. It can now go straight, which it could not do before. Awesome. So that's going to wrap it up. A successful repair of my Deebot 937. Is it an Ozmo 937? I think it's called an Ozmo 937 technically. I followed on iFixit a disassembly diagram or instruction set for a Deebot 900. Like I said during the process, it was not identical, but it got me close enough that I was able to kind of figure it out the rest of the way. So that might be a good starting point. I have not seen a teardown step-by-step instruction for this particular model yet, so keep that in mind. It is interesting that just a little bit of hair wrapped around that motor was able to seize it up tight. So live and learn. So if you guys found this video interesting, please give it a big thumbs up. I know it was probably hard to see some things because you know, it's not a zoomed in view. I try to just keep the camera more or less stationary the whole way. Feel free to leave your comments, suggestions, ideas, and thoughts below. Consider subscribing. And if you're going to subscribe, you can always hit the notify bell, which is over there somewhere. That's all I have for you now, guys. Hope you had a great weekend. Hope your Deebot is working again after replacing your drive motor. And that's it. Till next time, bye now.